It's spooky season, so why not talk about some abandoned places? Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Emily and today we're counting down our list of the top 10 abandoned theme parks around the world. Coming in at number 10 is Yangon, Myanmar. This amusement park doesn't actually have a name or a name that I could find. It simply goes by the amusement park in Yangon, Myanmar. Now it was opened by the Burmese dictatorship in the former capital of Yangon, Myanmar around 1997. Its claim to fame was that it had the first roller coaster in the whole country. Other rides included the rocket, a Viking pirate ship, the UFO cycle, a carousel, and bumper cars. Now there was even an arcade called Happy Child World. This park closed suddenly in 2012 and nobody seems to know the real reason why. Yet it continues to steadily attract people who like exploring. The jungle has rapidly taken over the resting attractions while packs of wild dogs live beneath some of the rides. Now every so often you might hear the roar of a lion or a tiger from the nearby zoo, and it is possible to sit in some of the roller coaster cars or pretend to ride the horses on the carousel, although everything is now covered with a layer of mold and dirt. But I think twice before going here because locals say that the park is haunted with the ghosts of people who have died in accidents on the rides. Number 9. Taman Festival, Bali, Indonesia. Locals believe the abandoned theme park Taman Festival is home to lost spirits, making it a spooky ghost town. Originally to be built in 1997, Taman Festival was set on 8 hectares and had a 3D turbo theater. There were nightly laser shows, a man-made volcano, roller coaster, and other amusement park rides and animals. There were plans to feature Bali's largest swimming pool and an inverted roller coaster, but locals were always skeptical due to spirits. Urban legend was that someone died on a ride when the park first opened. In 1998, with many of the rides not completed, lightning struck causing irreparable damage. Finally, in 2000, after a decline in visitor numbers, Taman closed due to lack of funds. Now today, there's nothing but lost memories and the evil spirits locals believe to have been taken over. Also, there's an alligator pit. Yes, the story goes that the park owners, unable to rehouse the crocs, left them to fend for themselves. Some claim that they have eaten humans who visit the park, so if you do visit, keep your ear out for the rustle and the undergrowth. It could just be a crocodile, and given the dense foliage, your fate might be an alligator's dinner. Number 8. Thuy, Vietnam. Vietnam is home to a few abandoned amusement parks, and none of them are more eerie though than the iconic Thuy abandoned dragon water park. Located on the outskirts of Hue, Vietnam's old imperial capital, Thuy was built as an aquatic park and carnival complex in 2014. It only stayed open a few short years before it closed down, and the exact reasons for the closure remain unknown, but it was probably a financial decision on the part of the park's owners. The most iconic structure there, a 3-level aquarium in the shape of a dragon's head perched in the center of the main lake, has become a beacon for locals and tourists alike who love to take selfies on the bridge. Now in its heyday, there were dozens of aquariums inside the dragon displaying fish, crocodiles, and other creatures. When the park closed, some of the crocodiles escaped into the lake and were eventually rehomed by PETA. Although the park is completely abandoned, there's still a chance you'll be charged a small entry fee to enter, depending on which guard is manning the front gate, so come prepared. Number 7. Mimaland, Malaysia. Malaysia in miniature land, aka Mimaland, was active from 1975 to 1994. Considered the first theme park in Southeast Asia, it featured an artificial lake, a huge swimming pool with giant water slides, and a prehistoric animal kingdom. Now unfortunately, in January 1993, a 27-year-old died while using a giant water slide at the Mimaland pool. The incident shocked the public and resulted in a temporary closure of Mimaland. After improvement was done to the giant slide, Mimaland was reopened. However, a minor landslide caused damage to the walls of the same pool in May 1994. The incident caused muddy water to seep into the pool, causing the area to close to the public forever. Today, the park's life-size dinosaurs and megafauna, bumper cars, and other attractions have been eerily engulfed by the jungle. Number 6. Dadipark, Antwerp, Belgium. Located in Antwerp, Belgium, Dadipark aimed to provide experiences for families that were affordable and unforgettable. Originally built in 1950 as a playground for the children of the pilgrims visiting the nearby basilica, by 1980 the schoolyard equipment had been replaced with amusement rides and open to tourists and those in town on pilgrimage. For the time, the park enjoyed great success, entertaining 1 million visitors during its peak year, and for a time containing what was, at 800 meters, the longest monkey bridge in Europe. However, things took a turn for the worse as the increasingly run-down rides became more and more hazardous. Unfortunately for one young boy, his unforgettable experience involved him losing an arm while riding on the Nautic jet ride. Now, following fierce backlash from visitors, which included complaints about other safety concerns, the park closed down in 2002. Today, not much is left at the abandoned park other than the ruined equipment and the chilling atmosphere. Plans are reportedly underway to transform the park into a new recreation area, but I think they should just leave it. Number 5. Six Flags New Orleans, USA. Six Flags New Orleans first opened as Jazzland in the year 2000, and a leasing agreement was established with Six Flags in 2002 following the previous operator's bankruptcy proceedings. Six Flags invested $20 million in upgrades, and the park reopened as Six Flags New Orleans in 2003. Following the substantial damage caused by Hurricane Katrina in 2005, though, the park remained closed to the public in order to make efforts to repair and reopen it. However, in 2009, the city of New Orleans ended its 75-year lease with Six Flags, and the park consequently became permanently closed due to extreme damage that was too severe to be repaired. Six Flags salvaged several rides and relocated them to other parks. Following several failed proposals to redevelop the site, it seems abandoned and in poor condition. Videos and photos of the site have emerged over the years from thrill seekers and YouTubers, and as a result, city officials became more diligent in securing the park and banning tourists, tasking the New Orleans Police Department with patrolling the abandoned site and arresting trespassers. An option to demolish the clear land was explored in 2019 following complaints from local residents, estimated to cost the city $1.3 million. Now, in the meantime, the city continues to generate revenue from the property by occasionally leasing the park to various production companies as a filming location, as it has been used for films such as Jurassic World and Dawn of Planet of the Apes. Number 4. Nara, Dreamland, Japan. Located on the northern outskirts of the historic Japanese city, Nara Dreamland was a knockoff of California's Disneyland. Back in the 1950s, a man named Kunzio Maso met with Walt Disney to create a plan to make a Disney-like park in Japan. The two never reached an agreement, so Masto went ahead with developing his own characters, bringing Nara Dreamland to life in 1961. It even had Disney-esque attractions like Sleeping Beauty Castle, Tomorrowland, and Adventure Jungle Cruise. Dreamland did quite well until Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983, when attendance began to plunge. The park endured until 2006 and was a popular destination for urban explorers until it was demolished a decade or so later. Now, all that remains are the American-style chain restaurants like Coco's, Il Ben Italian Buffet that once served theme park visitors, and 2 sports stadiums that were built in the 1980s to complement Dreamland. Number 3. Pripyat Amusement Park, Chernobyl, Ukraine. The Pripyat Amusement Park is an abandoned amusement park located in Pripyat, Ukraine. It was to have its grand opening on May 1st, 1986, in time for the May Day celebrations, but these plans were cancelled on April 26 when the Chernobyl disaster occurred a few kilometers away. Several sources report that the park was open for a short time on April 27th to locals, but they were forced to evacuate as reports of dangerously high levels of radiation in the area started to emerge, something inhabitants and authorities had been unaware of on the day of the nuclear incident. Now, radiation levels around the park vary. The liquidators washed radiation into the soil after the helicopters carrying radioactive materials used the ground as a landing strip, so concreted areas are less radioactive. Now, today the park remains untouched and the unused rides are disintegrating or consumed with mold. Number 2. Spreepark, Berlin, Germany. Shut down in 2001, Berlin's Spreepark opened in 1969 as East Germany's only amusement park and welcomed 1.5 million visitors a year in its heyday. When it closed due to falling visitor numbers, owner Norbert Witte packed up 6 of the park's most popular rides into shipping containers and had them sent to Peru, a new park in Lima that never quite took off. Now, Norbert's problems grew when some of the rides were shipped back to Germany and custom officers discovered 160 kilograms kilograms of a white powdery substance that was hidden in the mast of the flying carpet. Partly due to his criminal activities and partly to lackluster visitor numbers, Spreepark was shut down to the public in 2002, and Norbert was tried on smuggling charges 2 years later. As a result of this shutdown, the amusement park has slowly been taken over by nature. Now, unfortunately, a number of features were destroyed in a fire in 2014, which was caused by arson, following which security was strengthened with a new perimeter fence and permanent security personnel and dogs. And coming in at number 1 is Okpo Land, South Korea. Okpo Land was one of Asia's most famous amusement parks, but in May 1999, it closed overnight, becoming abandoned. The duck-themed ride, which was one of the main attractions in the park, is known to have caused at least one fatality in the early 1990s. A train derailed and fell onto the ground, ending the life of one person and injuring several others. The ride lived on and no compensation or apology was received, giving rise to rumors about owners paying off local officials. In 1999, the ride claimed its second life, and again one of the trains derailed and capsized, causing the death of a young girl. Following the accident, the park's owner vanished overnight and Okpo Land was closed immediately and indefinitely. Okpo Land remained abandoned following its closure, with the rides left in place. Now, hauntingly, the capsized duck train from which a rider plummeted to her death in 1999 remained hanging over the edge as it had done on the tragic day until the park began to be demolished in 2011. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 abandoned theme parks around the world. Would you want to visit any of these places? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm your host, Emily, and we'll see you next time. Peace.